Hi everyone, I'm Frank Daniels, and you're watching Football DataLab. We work with a database of over 30,000 active professional players across more than 80 performance metrics. Today, we're looking at which players consistently outperform expected goals, and whether that's skill or just luck. In front of us is a distribution of almost 8,000 players across a single metric, actual goals minus XG. 0 sits at the center. You're scoring exactly what the model predicts. Most players cluster right there. The histogram is symmetrical and drops off sharply toward the edges. But those edges exist. A small group of players pulls to the right. They're systematically scoring more than their shot quality suggests they should. There aren't many of them, and that matters, because it raises an immediate question. Is this genuine talent, or fortune that will eventually even itself out? 8,000 observations is enough to look at structure rather than noise, and that's exactly what we're about to do. Okay, we've seen the overall picture. Now let's look at how this effect breaks down across leagues.
We've identified who outperforms their XG. Now let's look at where it happens most often. The chart covers almost 1,900 players, split across leagues. The gap between the top and bottom is pretty significant. The Indian Super League and the Brazilian Championship stand out clearly. Average performance above XG is noticeably higher there than anywhere else. One explanation is goalkeeper quality. In less competitive leagues, keepers are generally weaker, and forwards convert chances that would be saved at the top level. Another factor is style of play. Leagues with high tempo and open space generate chances that XG models have historically undervalued. Norway and Turkey sit at the other end. Forwards there consistently fall short of their expected mark. That explains the geography. Now let's see how stable this effect actually is over time. We looked at which leagues see players consistently outperform their XG. Now we ask the same question through a different lens: position. The chart covers almost 2,000 players, broken down by role, and the picture is surprising. Attacking midfielders and left wingers comfortably hold a positive gap over their XG. They regularly score more than the model predicted. One explanation is positional. Attacking midfielders receive the ball in areas the XG algorithm undervalues, off a deflection, first time, with no preparation. The other explanation is survivorship bias. The players who stick around in those roles are precisely the ones who convert awkward chances. The weaker finishers leave earlier. Wingbacks are also in positive territory, though modestly. Their shots tend to come from areas the model rates as near hopeless, so any goal scored there automatically registers as overperformance. Right, we've broken down the positional picture. Now let's see how all of this comes together in the...
We found that position on the pitch influences the gap with XG. But here's what's more compelling. The same pattern shows up across player quality levels. Among nearly 8,000 players in the dataset, the top 10% by rating consistently outperform their XG, while the rest either break even or fall short. The gap is modest, but it's persistent, and that's exactly what matters. One explanation is decision-making quality. Elite players more often choose to shoot at the right moment, rather than shooting simply because the opportunity is there. Another is psychology and composure under pressure. Top players convert chances that XG considers difficult, because technically they're just better. Both explanations point to the same conclusion. Outperforming XG isn't random noise, it's a skill. Rare but reproducible. And it concentrates precisely where you'd expect it to, at the very top. If this kind of analysis interests you, subscribe, and we'll be back in a few days with more breakdowns from the same dataset.